right, welcome back. Treasury Secretary Scott Shellady, he's one of my faves. He's traveling to Europe this week for meetings that include talks with China's trade top negotiator, Vice Premier He Lifeng in Spain. Discussions are going to cover money laundering, broader trade issues, and TikTok, of course, which faces a potential U.S. ban if not sold by its Chinese parent, ByteDance. But President Trump previously had granted a 90-day pause on enforcing the law, and while the deadline looms next week, the White House is expected to extend it. All right. After Spain, Bessent will join Trump on a state visit to the UK later this week before returning to the U.S., holding the meeting in Madrid. It signals an attempt to maintain neutral ground, I guess, for talks while they're underscoring the importance of managing the world's most critical economic relationship. Now, I'm not holding out for any great news. As long as Trump's tariffs are in court, these talks are just placeholders to me. Even China did a sorghum deal right from underneath our nose while we were trying to negotiate other stuff with them this week or last week. So there's been a notable shift in grain trade flows from the South America to China there. So the program is expected to begin within 60 days, directly challenging what historically has been a 100% U.S.-dominated sorghum export market. They're all going to be going to the South now. The BRICS, B-R-I-C-S, they're real, and we need to deal with it. My next guest has talked about this stuff all the time. Please welcome into the show Ms. Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management down in Tampa, Florida. Rebecca, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. This is kind of your wheelhouse, this BRICS, B-R-I-C-S, for our viewers, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And they're probably more than that, I'm sure you're going to tell us. But they're slowly but surely gathering gravity. How about that?
Yeah, there are 10 members, and then there are 10 partners, and then there's other affiliated countries. And when you combine all of that, Scott, that is over half of the population of the Earth. It's 4.45 billion people out of 8 billion people. And it's about 45% of total global GDP. And this is exactly what you're talking about, where the United States previously had a 100% control over an industry. Now you're seeing bilateral trade that's happening that's going to circumvent and cut the United States either out or down as our percentage. And I really want to stress to the viewers, like, the United States is in a precarious position. And I think Donald Trump and Bessent for sure know this. We are in a precarious position because, as you know, we are moving to the blockchain. We are moving to digital currencies. And even though Trump outlawed a U.S. digital Federal Reserve currency, he did not, and they came up with the Genius Act. They're going through stable coins, right? So the stable coins now through the Genius Act have to have a one-to-one reserve relationship with liquidatable securities, which is basically U.S. dollars and or treasuries, right? And so we're going to still have third parties in the blockchain currency space, but it is going to be through these stable coins. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is very specific. The Bank of International Settlements, which is the central bank of all central banks, if you're in our world, you know that, they started a project with China and some other partners called Project mBridge. Now, the reason this is important is because the Bank of International Settlements actually has turned over this project to China. Okay, now the problem is, if you look at the participants in this mBridge project, Project mBridge, it's the bank, or the People's Bank of China. So it's the Central Bank of China. It is the Central Bank of Hong Kong. It is the Central Bank of the UAE. It is the Central Bank of Saudi Arabia. And it's the Central Bank, I'm forgetting one, it'll come back to me. But there's 5 central banks. I'm leaving out one, Thailand, the Bank of Thailand. That's what it was. So what I want you to see, Scott, is that the Bank of International Settlements started a central bank, blockchain kind of platform to do bi-directional crypto, transactions, and then gave it to the People's Bank of China. So I just know that BRICS is so much further along in not only bi-directional trading, but basically trading in cryptos, right? Like basically setting up almost their own now new central bank that they can basically internationally trade and their domestic currencies and then settle maybe with gold or who knows what on a certain time frame basis. And this is leaps and bounds ahead of where we are in the United States as far as the technology on central bank digital currency with the blockchain. And so when you look at what they're doing with their trade trading groups with BRICS, and you look what they're doing on the blockchain, on their currency and bidirectional trade, and you see how much of the Earth's population is moving to the east, away from the West. It is a huge concern for the United States and Europe, and we should be like two peas in a pod trying to figure out how we can all come together and fix this so that the whole world doesn't shift away from us.
I mean, it's very well said. You're right. It's a big worry. The problem is really at its core, Rebecca, we got too cozy with China as a customer. We were making money off of China, so it was more of a relationship where it was good for our economy. And now, slowly but surely, we're waking up to the fact that they don't like us. They just don't like us. We're we're a Saint Bernard puppy dog that we keep bounding their way, thinking that they're going to play with us, and they don't want to play with us. They'll play with us when they have to. For instance, when it comes to crops, and they've been getting a lot of their crops from South America. If there's a problem in South America, yeah, they'll come up to the U.S. and buy what they need from us. But no longer are they going to be that big partner that we thought we were kind of grooming over the last 30 years, because at the end of the day, they view us as an adversary and we view them as a friend, and that's just not going to work out. 10 seconds to you before we go.
The best analogy is a young girl in her 20s that doesn't know anything about life, who gets a 60-year-old rich boyfriend, right? And he teaches her everything about the world. And all of a sudden she grows up and she's in her 30s and she wants to dump him because now she has all the knowledge and she doesn't need him anymore and she can go off and get somebody else. That's what we were. We made China. United States made China what they are. They just took it and ran with it. And now they're ditching us. And we're yesterday's news, and we got to find a new partner.
That's a great analogy, and I'm going to end on that one. Thank you very much, Rebecca. That's perfect.
You.
Everybody understands that.